How important is influence in this game? I mean, you work with people like Deion Sanders, like that is epic.
Oh man, that was a game-changing partnership, man. Game-changing, transformational. It's far beyond just a viral moment on the internet. That was a truly transformational shift in culture.
Seeing The Rock put on your shades on live TV on ESPN, how much of a WTF moment was that for you and a landmark for the brand, do you think?
There's not a face in as popular, as big as The Rock beyond probably the president, right? I mean, he is such a global powerhouse.
Any collabs or people that you want to work with?
Yes, we have some big faces in music and that I'm really excited about. We also have some big NFL stars that I would love to be on, even NBAs as well. Nike's done it with shoes, but no one's done it really that well with sunglasses, and we have a unique opportunity to really bridge that gap.
Both guys rocking the shades so often now. Which landscapes are you looking at moving forward outside of the classic American sport?
Yeah, so I mean, we just ended our partnership with F1 with Red Bull, so that just ended in 2024. That was a very exciting partnership. I've always wanted to partner with Red Bull.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to Essentially Sports, to Chase Fisher, founder of Blenders Eyewear. Chase, very nice to see you. I got to say, when people come up to you and say, what do you do? I think saying I'm a surf coach is already a very cool answer and sounds like a very cool life. But you're taking things to new levels, and in terms of the sports game as well, sponsoring so many young and exciting athletes. So can you just go start at the beginning for us? Tell us about what it is you're doing for a living, because I find it very exciting.
Yeah, so you want me to give you the backstory or just jump right in?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to hear how you got into this, man. Like, what a cool vision.
Definitely. So, yeah, it's been quite the journey, man. So if I take you back to junior high, I started surfing at a very young age. That was the first time in my life where I actually felt like I did something cool. And, I loved it so much. And then I started competing, and I would go to surf contests, and I would see all kinds of brands and all the athletes. And I just thought it was the coolest thing in the world. And so I always knew I wanted to be involved in some sort of brand, moving forward. And it just so happened to be sunglasses. And so fast forward to San Diego State. I graduated. I didn't know what I was going to do with my life, just like most college students. And I went to be a surf coach, and I was giving surf lessons on the beach. And one night I was going to see my favorite DJ at a nightclub, and I wore some neon green sunglasses to the club, and everybody in the club was coming up to me asking about my shades. Chase, where'd you get those? Let me try them on. Like, those are so cool. And I was like, wow, I bought them for $5 from Target. Like, they're not that cool, And boom, that's when the idea for Blenders was born. It was on the dance floor of a nightclub, and I saw a gap in the market because I was at the beach all day, and I just became obsessed with sunglasses, and just saw $200 Ray-Bans and Oakleys and the $5 beater shades that I was wearing. And there wasn't a brand that was in the middle, that was mid-tier priced, affordable, cool, that represented San Diego. And so I was like, wow, what better place to do this in San Diego? If it's not going to work here, it's not going to work anywhere. And knocked on my roommate's door and said, hey, dude, can I borrow $2,000? And he goes, what for? And I was like, I want to start a sunglass brand. So here we are.
You guys have invested over $250,000 in young talent. How significant is that for the brand, and how massive is where you're? That feels like a very exciting moment in time.
Very exciting, man. This is personal to me. It's close to my heart, right? I mean, investing back in these athletes, it feels like I'm reliving my childhood, right? Like, I was once a competitive surfer. I was never good enough to go professional, but I was good enough to learn the skills and lessons of how you self-market yourself, and how to land endorsement deals, and how to provide value, and how to work with brands, right? And so for me, it's deeply personal, and that's why it's so meaningful. And being able to give back to these athletes, it's like I see myself in them. So yeah, I just had a lot more sunscreen on than they did. They're in jerseys. I was in a wetsuit.
And how important is influence in this game? I mean, you work with people like Deion Sanders, like that is epic. Talk to me about signing him and working with him, but the importance of people repping your brand who people look up to.
Yeah, I mean, I think with sports in general, right? Like, I think it's about aligning yourself with the next generation, and it's about fueling their rise and being part of their story. And collegiate sports in general, right? I mean, these young athletes come into college as young adults, and they leave as equipped adults, faced with challenges, overcoming adversity, lessons, learning how to, endure, and learning how to play on a team, right? And it's such a big part of their life as just developmental people. And we have a unique opportunity to really be part of that story and part of that development that will stay with them forever. So yeah, that's important for us, right? I mean, we aspire to be electrifying in this space. We aspire to help rise and fuel athletes that really represent the roots of the brand, you know?
Talk to me about that signing of Sanders because I saw your post. I really liked it. I've got the energy from your post. Like, how significant was that?
Oh man, that was a game-changing partnership, man. Game-changing, transformational, you know, it's far beyond just a viral moment on the internet. That was a truly transformational shift in culture and shift in the brand direction as a whole. Collegiate sports was always something that I was passionate about, but never really had the angle to attack it until the Deion Sanders approach. And then you coupled with the whole NIL explosion and that opening the door was just this like perfect timing for us to just like, blaze this new trail and pioneer this new chapter in sports marketing.
Yeah, you guys have also partnered with the Mesa Collective, right? So is there a special moment happening in sports marketing now? You seem very finger on the pulse with what's happening.
Absolutely, man. I mean, again, I know the impact and I know the value in today's day and age just to, as an athlete, right? It's not just about talent. It's about the full package. You have to have the full package nowadays. Back in the day, talent was enough. Now you gotta have the personal brand to go with it. And so partnering with student athletes has allowed us to really bring that journey full circle and really shed light on the importance of building your personal brand, elevating your personal brand, learning how to build a personal brand, giving these athletes visibility, the tools, the confidence to think beyond the jersey. And that's the biggest thing here. It's like what happened? The biggest question is what happens when the ball stops bouncing or the ball stops being thrown, right? Because very slim percentage of these athletes are going to go out and actually be pro. And so they need the skills, they need the visibility, they need the belief, they need the understanding of what life looks like after, right? And the value that that can bring. So these are all things and lessons that I learned early on in my surfing days.
Seeing The Rock put on your shades on live TV on ESPN, how much of a WTF moment was that for you and a landmark for the brand, do you think?
Holy shit, man. Excuse my language. I watched that live in real life. I was backstage and I watched it. And I felt like we just conquered the world, right? Like there's not a face in as popular as big as The Rock beyond probably the president, right? I mean, he is such a global powerhouse. And to see that happen on live TV and to see that happen in real life, I was like, oh my God, we just broke the internet. It was nuts. That was probably the greatest right place, right time moment in social media history from a brand perspective. Still feeling it today.
Any collabs or people that you want to work with that would really excite you or anything you want to kind of hint at that's coming this year or down the line?
Yeah, we have a lot more exciting collaborations in the works, especially with student athletes and professional athletes as well, right? Like we want to keep pioneering this space. We want to brand these guys from the face up. Nike's done it with shoes, but no one's done it really that well with sunglasses. And we have a unique opportunity to really bridge that gap and be that brand that can be that emotional connection between the athletes and the fans. So expect to see Blenders on more rising stars, more established stars, both men and women in not just sports, but also lifestyle culture as well. Musicians, entertainers, broadcasters, et cetera. So we really want to dominate the intersection of lifestyle and sport.
Is there any talents at San Diego University you're looking at who caught your eye at the moment?
We definitely have a lot of rising stars at San Diego State, but we're attacking San Diego State from a team perspective, right? Like if we can lift the players up as a whole, we can lift the program up. And a place like San Diego, right? Like America's finest city, an amazing place to live, amazing place to, all these things, right? San Diego's amazing. It needs no introduction, but talent here is strong, but the resources to back up the talent has not matched the talent as a whole. So we have to get creative and we have to find new ways to retain this talent. So that's the unique opportunity that we can really play here at San Diego State is teaching the players like, hey, you're not going to come to San Diego and get a big payday, but you're going to come and be involved in something larger than sports with brands that represent you, that understand you, that want to help elevate your image and can teach you the value of building a personal brand, right? So that's really the angle that we play here is how could we set a precedent for community members, alumni, brands, and companies to retain the talent, right? Like if you want a good product on the floor, we gotta keep them here, right? We got to invest in them. So that's kind of what it is too, is setting a precedent for other companies to follow, just to ensure these students have the backing that they need.
How important is your social strategy for yourself, for a company? Because I think the athletes that get it, you see them fly, and sometimes it can transcend their talent. If they have an amazing game on social, they get bigger moves, they get bigger deals.
Of course, man. I mean, like I said, you have to have the full package, and that's part of the package these days. Is there's two worlds, right? There's like the real world, and then there's the social world, and you have to have that on. You have to have a strong presence on social media, and some of these players don't really know the value of that just yet, right? Like they're not active on social. They have social, but they don't post much. They don't really understand how to market themselves in the way that they should. So this really gives us an opportunity to really show them the value of like, wow, this is what you can look like, right? Like this is what your brand can look like on social. And I think for us, we really understand how to tap in and connect with these athletes in a way that maybe other brands can't, just because of the shared energy of culture and purpose, right? Like athletes want to represent brands that they're proud to wear. They want to represent brands that get them. They don't want things to be forced. They don't want like to represent corporate companies where there's no shared connection. And Blenders is that in it, like we are that integrative part in that connective tissue that players are like, yes, that's cool. I actually want to be involved in that brand and represent it.
Is there a dream signing for you? Someone whose style you just think, yes, one day, I'm gonna be putting something on the.
I get asked that question a lot, man. It always changes because there's always like somebody new that comes up, right? Yes, we have some big faces in music and that I'm really excited about. We also have some big NFL stars that I would love to be on, even NBAs as well. But yeah, I mean, I won't hint at anything just yet, but expect to see us on more established large faces and supporting the next generation too, because that's what keeps the brand really like relatable. At the same time, is we have the saying like fresh from San Diego, rocked with pride worldwide, and it's kind of this idea of no matter what, no matter how big we get and how global we become, like we always want to be locally loved. We always want to be relatable to the everyday person that walks by our office and, our headquarters. And, but we want to be globally rocked, right? We want to be represented on every single continent, on the biggest stars and things like that. So how could we become as big as possible, but how could we also be as relatable as possible at the same time, I think is the challenge that we're trying to be, is that we're, constantly toggling with.
Right now, basketball's plays such a significant role for you guys. You mentioned the NFL as well. I'm a big combat sports guy, and face-offs. Both guys rocking the shades so often now. Which landscapes are you looking at moving forward outside of the classic American sports?
Yeah, so I mean, we just ended our partnership with F1 with Red Bull. So that just ended in 2024. That was a very exciting partnership. I've always wanted to partner with Red Bull as like a dream. They've been like my favorite brand since day one. But collegiate sports for us is a big focus right now, right? Like our customers are 13 years older now than they were once I started. So how are we tapping into that next generation, right? Which is college, and how can we play an impactful role there? So collegiate sports, track, baseball, basketball, football, softball, right? Like we want to be on all the coolest hip young college students that are on the rise. And continue to make a splash in the entertainment space too, right? Like Blenders was founded on the dance floor. It was founded in music. So we want to be seen on DJs. We want to be seen at the country festivals. We want to be seen on all the coolest YouTubers. So not just on the field, but we want to be rocked off the field too. So that's a big focus too, is just how could Blenders be the most relevant brand in sports and lifestyle culture from a next generation strategy to also established icons as well.
How big's your team over there? Like, it must be so fun to market sunglasses being based out of San Diego, working with athletes, and there seems to be a bit of a personal touch as well. Like, what campaigns are you most proud of?
Yeah, man. I mean, we sell sunglasses in San Diego, right? Like life could be a lot worse than that, right? Like we're not selling staples or car insurance, and no offense if you are, but we have a really unique opportunity and I have to pinch myself just to remind myself that as hard as this journey is, as as challenging as it is and emotionally draining as it is, it's so rewarding at the same time. And honestly, it's partnerships like this with the Mesa Foundation and the student athletes that remind me why this journey is so special. And to see the community that we've built over the years, like wearing the product, representing the product, the stories, the pictures that they're taking all around the world, and how they're living our brand, and wearing our stripes proudly. Like, you need those moments, you need those reminders, because this journey is extremely hard, man. Being an entrepreneur is one of the hardest things you can do as a human. But the community and the impact that you share and that you have is the why behind why it's all worth it, you know? So yeah, it's special, man, for sure.
I think you're probably living a lot of kids' dreams. Can you tell me a little bit about how you went from that night in the club, coming home and being like, man, I see something here, to getting the first pair in your hands and being like, these look sick?
Yeah, man. I mean, look, like for me personally, like I take you back to when I was a kid, right? Like I was the kid that struggled in school. I'm dyslexic. I had a learning disability. I had a speech problem. I had a stuttering problem. Like I was the kid that was set up to fail. If you looked at Chase Fisher on paper, you were like, no way that kid's going to make it by the traditional education standards. So I was held back. I was in special education. Like I really, really struggled at a young age. So for me, I had to build my confidence outside the classroom. I had to build it socially. I was the cool kid. I had to be the cool surfer. I had to like build my confidence in ways that other students didn't have to, because they were excelling in school. So they had the confidence. And I was bred to believe that you had to be smart to be successful, right? And so when I started Blenders, that was my first real crack at doing anything significant in my life. And for me, it's like I am the story of you can too, right? Like I was told that you needed to have 4.0 to be a smart, to go out and change the world. You had to be a valedictorian, you had to be in honors, like, and I was like, that's not me, you know? So full circle moment, it's like, wow, all those kids that I grew up idolizing of like, shit, they're going to be the kids to go out and change the world are now calling me and saying, Chase, how'd you do it? Like, can I come work for you? And so yeah, man, like I think the message is like I am the story of the underdog, right? Like bet on the underdog. Like I'm the story of you can too. And hard work will outpace being genius minded any day of the week. And so it's based on grit, resilience, and belief and confidence that you can do something if you really put your mind to it and you really believe in it and you work hard to achieve it, right? And so yes, there's been a lot of times where I wanted to quit over and over and over. And there's some advice that I needed that I got at a time that I literally was about to quit 6 months in. And the guy was like, Chase, the only way you're going to fail is if you stop. Just keep going. And I kept going. And from that point forward, like the mantra of forward motion, of constantly evolving, the brand really took center stage and became sort of the bedrock to how we built the business, right? So, yeah, man, from the struggles as a kid to overcoming adversity, those times really prepared me for the journey now. And I'm thankful for having that, because that's what these students relate to. That's what young entrepreneurs are like. He did it. I can do it too. And that's what makes my journey so unique and so relatable, which is super important in today's day and age. Because when I was growing up, I didn't have got that. I didn't have that in front of me. We just didn't have anyone that you can relate to on these types of journeys. And I am that kind of example now, which is pretty special.
That's amazing. I interview athletes mostly, so so many of the same rules apply. When
Yes.
you're a kid, who is that guy? And is there a guy or a female now who you just, there's the picture of them, or there's their story that drives you?
Yeah, man. I mean, look, I was a kid that would go through these crazy obsessions, right? Like I wanted to be the professional surfer. I saw the surfers and I was like, I want to be a pro surfer. And then I became obsessed with that. And I was never good enough to go pro. And I saw the movie Twister and I wanted to be a weatherman and a storm chaser. So like I had all these things that I was like really curious about, that I like went down these rabbit holes until I realized like, weatherman, that's too much science for me. It's too much math for me, that's not going to work. And then I saw Entourage, the show Entourage, and I wanted to be Ari Gold, the big sports and entertainment agent. And then I realized I didn't want to live in LA because I don't like LA. And so I just had these things that I were like, just drove me to just go in these different directions. And as an entrepreneur, you need that. You need that unwavering curiosity, right? Just to think bigger and learn on your own terms and explore things and experience things, right? Like experience is life's best teacher. So I needed to try everything to really understand what I liked and didn't like. But really, like my story and overcoming adversity from a young age, like I had a chip on my shoulder. I knew that I was capable of great things, and they weren't going to come in the classroom, but I needed to prove myself and to my parents and to everyone around me that, yeah, I could do something special in my life, right? And I don't have to be conventional. I could be unconventional. And so, yeah, I surrounded myself with those types of people. And that was really important in my journey too, is surrounding yourself with people that have done what you want to do. Um, is incredibly important, man. And these athletes really kind of understand that because they're on a shared team that have those values and that same energy. But they're also in a bubble, you know, and I think we allow them to see bigger and think about life outside that bubble.
An exciting time, 2025. Anything else you want to share with us before we go to look to watch out for this year?
Man, I mean, just think, yeah, just expect to see blenders more and more, man. I mean, we're disruptive. We like being first to market. We like to change the game. We like to make electrifying partnerships. Yeah, so expect to see us on the floor, off the floor, on the stage, and in the bright lights, and on hopefully your face coming soon.
Maximum respect, Chase. Exciting times and really cool hearing more about your story. We'll be watching closely. Thanks for joining us.